And it is the top players in women's college basketball of all time. And they had the correct one too. And by the way, no issues whatsoever with Stewie being number one. They had the correct one too. The reason why is that while winning does matter, the only way, like, if Caitlin Clark was, for example, like Elena Deladon.
Caitlin Clark's name has become synonymous with greatness in women's college basketball. But when it comes to all-time rankings, opinions are flying everywhere. After ESPN left her out of the top 5, Fox Sports dropped their own list, placing Clark at number 2. But is that high enough? Let's break it all down. It all started when ESPN's panel of analysts revealed their top 5 NC women's basketball players of all time. And shockingly, Caitlin Clark didn't make the cut. Fans were furious. And even WNBA legend Sue Bird chimed in, saying Clark undoubtedly belongs in the top 3. Bird isn't alone. Many fans felt the ESPN snub wasn't just disrespectful. It ignored Clark's record-breaking career. Then came Fox Sports, offering a different take. In their ranking of the top 10 women's college basketball players, Clark was placed second, right behind UConn legend Breanna Stewart. And while not every Clark fan was thrilled with her taking the number 2 spot, the reaction was far more positive compared to ESPN's list. Some fans even praised Fox for recognizing Clark's undeniable impact on the game. Now the big question. Breanna Stewart's resume is stacked with 4 NCAA titles and 2 National Player of the Year awards. But Caitlin Clark's jaw-dropping scoring records and transformative impact on women's basketball are hard to ignore. Some argue Clark's influence alone makes her a top contender for the number 1 spot. Others say Stewart's legacy and winning pedigree can't be overlooked. Caitlin Clark is in this conversation to begin with. From leading the NCAA in all-time scoring to her unmatched ability to hit deep threes and rack up assists, Clark's impact has been nothing short of revolutionary. In her final year at Iowa, she passed Pistol Pete Maravich to become the all-time leading scorer in Division I basketball history, both men's and women's. Think about that, outscoring legends like Breanna Stewart, Diana Taurasi, and Kelsey Plum. But it's not just the points. Clark's court vision, passing ability, and competitive spirit have made her must-watch TV. She's brought record viewership to women's basketball, with millions tuning in to see her play.
And when you have all the accolades and everything, like Breanna Stewart deserves to be, like, that is, to argue the winning argument, because of how good Caitlin Clark was individually, you have to be at Breanna Stewart level winner. And Breanna Stewart won 4 years in a row, barely lost a game in college. She did play on super teams, but, like, it doesn't matter. And it's so funny. I'll talk about this a little bit tomorrow. It's like the rival fans furious at this, where it's like, the argument is 2. It is between Stewie and Caitlin Clark.
On the other side of the debate, you have Breanna Stewart, 4 national titles, 2 Most Outstanding Player awards, and she led one of the most dominant college basketball dynasties of all time at UConn. Stewart's consistency in high-pressure moments and her all-around game are undeniable. Her dominance on both ends of the floor and her ability to lead a team to multiple championships put her in rare company. And that's why Fox's decision to rank her number 1 still holds weight, even with the rise of Clark. It's not just fans weighing in on this debate. Players and analysts are too. WNBA icons like Lisa Leslie and Cheryl Swoops have acknowledged Clark's incredible skills but often point to Stewart's unmatched championships. Even Caitlin Clark herself has shown admiration for Stewart, often crediting her as a role model. But humility aside, Clark's competitive nature means she's always aiming for that top spot. But what about you, the fans? Social media exploded after Fox released their rankings, with opinions flying in all directions. Some fans were thrilled to see Clark at number 2, calling it a fair recognition of her greatness. Others weren't so satisfied, saying she should have topped the list. And then there's the camp that believes rankings are pointless. Every era of women's basketball has had its star, and comparing them just diminishes their individual legacies. At the end of the day, whether Caitlin Clark is number 1, 2, or 5, the buzz she's created is a massive win for women's basketball. Her impact goes beyond rankings. Clark has brought in new fans, inspired the next generation, and proven that women's sports deserve the spotlight. One of the biggest challenges when creating greatest of all time lists is comparing players from different eras. The game has evolved dramatically over the years, from the style of play to the level of competition. In the early days of women's college basketball, players like Cheryl Miller and Lisa Leslie dominated with sheer physicality and skill. Fast forward to today, and the three-point revolution, led by players like Clark, has transformed the game. Clark's deep-range shooting and lightning-fast offensive play wouldn't have been as common 20 years ago. Similarly, legends like Stewart and Taurasi thrived in a more physical, post-oriented era. So, how do we fairly compare achievements across these different playing styles? It's no wonder opinions are so divided. But beyond stats and championships, there's an emotional side to why fans stand by their favorite players. For Iowa fans, Caitlin Clark represents a storybook career, a hometown hero who brought national attention to a program that wasn't traditionally dominant. On the other hand, fans of players like Breanna Stewart remember witnessing a UConn dynasty where winning championships almost felt inevitable. The emotional connection to those dominant teams runs deep. And let's not forget the impact of representation. Players like Dawn Staley and Cheryl Swoops paved the way for today's stars, inspiring young athletes across the globe. So, what's next in Caitlin Clark's career? With her transition to the WNBA, the debate will only intensify. If she can dominate at the professional level the same way she did in college, the argument for her being the greatest of all time will gain even more traction. But remember, greatness isn't just about stats. Leadership, clutch performances, and longevity all play a role. Will Clark add WNBA titles to her resume like Stewart did? Will she continue to break records and redefine the sport? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. She's already left an unforgettable mark on women's basketball. Now it's your turn. Do you agree with Fox Sports placing Caitlin Clark at number 2? Should she be number 1, or do you think another legend deserves that top spot? But here's something else to think about. How much influence does the media have in shaping these debates? ESPN's omission of Caitlin Clark from their top 5 list caused a major uproar. Meanwhile, Fox Sports placing her at number 2 was widely praised. It's no secret that networks thrive on these debates. Controversial rankings drive engagement, spark conversations, and dominate sports talk shows. And let's face it, Clark's name brings clicks and views. While rankings and debates are fun, they don't define a player's legacy. Caitlin Clark's story is already one for the history books. From a small-town Iowa girl to one of the most electrifying players in basketball. And it's not just about the records. Clark has inspired countless young girls to pick up a basketball, proving that women's sports deserve the same spotlight and respect. And let's not forget, the rise of Caitlin Clark has elevated the entire sport. Her rivalry with Angel Reese, her battles against powerhouse teams like South Carolina, and her iconic Final Four performances have brought in millions of viewers. With rising stars like Juju Watkins, Paige Buchers, and more making waves, the future of women's college basketball looks brighter than ever. So, whether you're Team Clark, Team Stewart, or just a fan of the game, we're all winning as women's basketball continues to soar. All right, let's have some fun. Now that Caitlin Clark is taking her talents to the WNBA, what can we expect in her rookie season? Will she take home Rookie of the Year honors? Lead the Fever to the playoffs? Maybe even break a few WNBA records along the way? Before we wrap up, a huge shout out to all of you who commented on my last video about the Caitlin Clark ESPN snub. Your takes were fire, and I love the debates in the comments section. To really understand Caitlin Clark's place in history, we need to look at how the legends of women's college basketball have shaped the game. From Cheryl Miller's dominance in the 80s to Breanna Stewart's four-peat at UConn, every era has had its defining superstar. Cheryl Miller revolutionized the game with her unstoppable scoring and fierce competitiveness. Lisa Leslie brought star power to women's basketball, paving the way for the WNBA. And Cheryl Swoops? She put women's college basketball on the map with her iconic NCAA championship performance. Then you have Diana Taurasi, who was practically unstoppable at UConn, and Maya Moore, who dominated on both ends of the court. Breanna Stewart, of course, led one of the most dominant dynasties in college basketball history. So, how does Caitlin Clark compare? While she may not have 4 national titles, her impact on the sport, particularly in the modern era, is unmatched. But is that enough to make her the greatest? Clark's influence doesn't stop when the buzzer sounds. Her presence has helped drive record-breaking viewership and ticket sales, proving the immense demand for women's basketball. Her games sold out arenas across the country. Networks like ESPN and Fox saw massive spikes in ratings. Even her WNBA debut is already shaping up to be one of the most anticipated moments in league history. But perhaps Clark's biggest influence is inspiring young athletes. From viral videos of kids imitating her signature deep threes to young girls wearing her jersey, she's a role model for the next generation. The beauty of the GOAT debate is that it never really ends. Every few years, a new player emerges, shifting the conversation and bringing fresh perspectives. In fact, 5 years from now, we could be debating whether Juju Watkins, Paige Buckers, or the next rising star deserves the title of the greatest. Hey,